you should work harder on yourself than you do on your work.
If you're not selling, get your ass up and just get to work. Just do it all. Here's Jaroid Henry here.
And I'm Jonah Allen, and we're inside the Jonah Allen Gallery.
And we came together here to give you as much value as possible as a visual artist so you can start learning the tactics and tools to scale your art career as far as you may want. Okay, on this particular episode, we're going to be answering the question. I think it's a really good question, especially I think like for you, which is what percentage of time do you allocate towards creating artwork and selling artwork? And the key question is why?
I would say the percentage of time I want to spend making artwork is 100% of the time.
Right.
But if you do that, you don't have anyone selling your work, marketing your work, well, then you're not going to make a living. You're not going to be able to make money from your art. Then you're not going to be able to keep creating for a living. So you got to dedicate a percentage of your time to marketing and sales. To be honest, I think I think at a minimum it should be 50-50. Minimum.
Now, here's the thing. When you say minimum 50-50, 50% creating, 50% marketing and selling, what that minimum lie? Like, if it wasn't a minimum, which one getting more attention?
I would say I can tell you about my journey. When I first started, it was 100% art creation, no marketing and sales. And then that was 2017, 2018. Started making a couple sales. Got the positive feedback from like, oh, if I put time and energy into marketing and sales, I make money. I like how that feels, right? So I kept doing that. It's like a positive feedback loop because you get direct feedback and you get rewarded for the skills and effort and energy you put into those tasks. It might not be right away, but over time, if you do it consistently and you get better and you learn, then yeah, you'll get results. So then I think last year it was like it skewed to 80-20, or like 80% marketing and sales, 20% creation. And then even at a time last year, it was probably like literally like 95% marketing and sales, 5% creation. Now I'm back to, I would say I'm 28 to 35% right now creating, and then the rest is marketing and sales.
So just
and I'm different as I'm operating too. So
if we have to round it out, we're talking like
70,
even
30.
at this point, it's like
I'm 70-30. I'm 30% creation right now and 70% marketing, sales, operating, and just like personal development myself. Like I said in another episode, it's like you should work harder on yourself than you do on your work. So I put myself first. I really care about my health. My health takes, my routines take 2-3 hours a day. So I put 3 hours a day into my health. So that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
So honestly, right now I probably I'm trying to get more deep work done, but I would say right now on marketing and sales and operating, my calendar would probably say 30 to 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
But I work a lot on myself
Yeah.
every day in terms of health and personal development. And then I'm trying to photograph every day too, sunrise, sunset. Then I take 2 days a week. I'm out doing expeditions. So
Here's a good rule of thumb for any visual artist. A really great rule of thumb would be, I call it that's 3 stages, right? Stage 1 is you're not usually, it's kind of like what Jonah was 2018. You're not usually putting a lot of time into marketing and sales, right? Usually to get to those first few sales, I'm talking about 1 to like 5,000, 5 to like $7,000 months. It's like 70 art, 30% marketing and sales, if done correctly, right? If done correctly. What happens is then you go to stage 2, which is you start to scale a little bit and you realize, crap, if I want to scale, I need to be marketing and selling way more. And then they usually go to that 50-50 mark, or start to like even flip to where you're doing 60-70 marketing and selling. What is that? 30-40 creating. And then you go to the next stage, which is the stage we're trying to get to right now, which is stage three. And stage three is what I like to call the buyback stage. So at the buyback stage, you basically now making 10, 15,000, however much more, and then you could buy back your time by hiring somebody, putting the right person in place to then do the marketing and sales for you. But you still gotta manage them and guide them. And honestly, even that could be a pain in the butt sometimes, but it do start to buy back some of your time eventually.
I didn't. I'm looking back. I didn't have any employees until like I was making multiple six figures.
But you got to keep in mind, you kind of went like, shh, and then you're like, "Oh, holy shit, I'm spending way too much time. I need to bring some employees on board,
Mm-hmm.
you know?" So I think like, and it's for people that really want to manage their time properly, you know? Maybe like if you really, really want to manage your time and like have it back, first I say like get the freaking 10,000. And it's not, it sounds bizarre when you say 10,000, but it's really not that much when you start to really break down the numbers and like work backwards, right? Keep in mind if your prices range from 1,000 to like even 3,000, which I think is very doable. Three sales, you're at 9,000 if it's at the 3,000 mark. So basically, if you taking let's say 1,000 to 3,000, as far as that's the prices for your work, and you just sell three pieces for 3,000, you're at 9,000. So 10,000 is very doable. Once you start to scale past 10,000, I do think it's feasible to start looking at hiring someone. Even if it's at a low end, you don't need the best person, the more advanced person. But if you could buy back some of that time, especially once you're at that 15,000 mark, I think it's fine. And buying back some of that time, by the way, I'm talking about you could get someone that's like in college as like a little intern or a social media person that you could hire as a VA. We can advance at this point,
And
but
my first hire was a VA who I still have.
yep,
Shout out. She's been with me for almost 5 years.
yep. And by the way, a VA is a virtual assistant. Is somebody who basically like could be across the world, but they understand their role really, really well as far as assisting wherever you may need that. And you guys just meet occasionally or regularly. By occasionally, I'm talking about like every day or every other day or so. So we're actually pretty regularly, and they just help out wherever you may need.
Also, for talking about buying back your time, if you know, as an artist, the first, I think your first couple things should be, yeah, admin and like assist, like just admin stuff. Most artists don't like admin stuff. Take care of all admin, systems, emails, that kind of thing, calendar. Then on the personal side, like huge leverage is cooking and cleaning. I don't cook, I don't clean. Huge.
I think, well, we both live a very different life from like probably 95% of the world, which is like it's just us for the most part. And now we're in position to really like allocate these little things out like
Yeah, because
that, right?
we don't have families. I don't have a
Right.
spouse. I don't have
Exactly.
kids.
So it's really like just us isolated for the most part. So if that's not you, then it's okay if you have someone to cook, clean, things like that. I think having admin, and for those that don't know, admin is just like what I like to call busy work, emails, things like that. But even if you're not getting a lot of emails at this point, because if you're at 15,000, you're probably not the most busy person, right? So even what would you rate like a content creator and somebody to have those conversations?
What was your question again?
Like, what would you rate that? Like, do you think I think that should be like the first person you should
I
hire,
think it's one of the, yeah, first like like basically an intern,
yeah,
like a
like a
paid
little intern
internship.
or so.
Yeah.
Like, keep in mind, like, once
Shoot,
you scale
yeah,
up,
I should have an intern a long time ago. Yeah. But no, I think you should, I mean, admin, calendar, then like physical stuff, like if you're, if you have to move the artwork, shipping, if you have to ship your artwork a lot, get someone to package and ship all your stuff up
yeah,
for you, and make all the runs to this, anything postage related,
yeah.
give that to somebody else.
Keep in mind, we're talking about once you're at 15,000 per month, somewhere in that ball game. If you're not selling, get your ass up and just get to work. Just do it all. Make some money, get your freedom, and then once you have disposable income to buy back time, then you start buying back that time.
If I could go back in time to my first hire, who is my VA, who's still with me today, I would delegate email, like all communication. So basically, your assistant serves as the filter. So that way, any message that comes through email, text, social media, is all filtered through this person, and they only give you things that are essential for you to answer that you haven't trained them on how to answer yet. And then I think that's huge, because then you're not constantly checking. I think email and social media messages can be both dopamine addiction. I've been there, where you're just constantly, I mean, the amount of times you check your Instagram messages, or the amount of times you check your Instagram, or the amount of times you check your email, if you can remove that dopamine hit
Yeah.
and like distance yourself from it, but still have somebody respond in prompt time and get back to all the such messages and be the filter and only give you the message that only you can answer, that's huge.
I would say that's probably the biggest buyback for me.
Yeah.
Is having somebody there to basically message everyone and get into conversation with everyone and post for you. It'll just buy back so much time and make your
Mhm.
life so much easier. And if you ever do, let's say you get to the point where you're scaling past 20K, I think a big mistake I made early on, especially I started hiring, is hiring the wrong people. If you're gonna hire someone, you typically want to be looking for someone that you think will do the job better than you, ideally. And by the way, even if you're not at this point in your career, these are the things you should be thinking about just overall, because you want to be setting yourself up for like true success. And I feel like no one is in the art space is really talking about like how to become an actual successful visual artist in detail, you know?
Mhm.
So hopefully you found this podcast very, very, very valuable. Hopefully you're taking some notes, and then you're going to get your butt to work until you set on the next podcast. But with that being said, it's getting late, so we out. Peace.